Mother Nature or nefarious alien activity? A ridiculously rectangular iceberg was spotted last October 16th, and there's only one question on everyone's minds. Is it real? NASA's Operation Icebridge photographed a tabular iceberg during a flyover over Antarctica. It's believed to have fractured from the Larsen C ice shelf in May. Unlike an angular iceberg, which usually has just the tip sticking out, tabular icebergs have a flat surface and steep vertical sides. Tabular icebergs form when an ice shelf grows and calves off, often resulting in straight, geometric lines. The iceberg's sharp corners are an indication that it's new, since wind and waves usually round it out. The berg hasn't been measured, but is likely to be more than a mile across. It's for sure not the biggest one ever recorded. That distinction belongs to Iceberg B15, which was 183 miles long and 23 miles wide. Ice, ice, baby.
Netizens slam frozen fish feature at Japanese skating rink. A Fukuoka theme park thought it would be a good idea to put thousands of dead fish under the ice at their skating rink, and is now badly regretting that decision. Space World apparently thought the idea of gliding over a wide variety of sea creatures would be a unique draw for customers. So operators bought 5,000 dead fish and arranged them around the rink, along with blown-up photos of larger marine animals. When images of the theme park centerpiece got around, they were met with outrage after netizens thought the fish were frozen to death. Despite the clarification that live fish weren't used, most didn't see the appeal, calling the concept weird, cruel, and disgusting. The park was met with a barrage of criticism and calls to boycott the attraction. So much so that they decided to close it down on November 27th. Space World is now melting the rink and will reportedly hold a memorial service for the fish sometime next year. Rest in peace, fishies!
Two moose found frozen in ice after battle to the death. Two men in Inuktitut, Alaska were going for a walk near the Bering Sea earlier this week when they stumbled upon the most epic of sights. Two moose, antlers locked, bodies frozen in ice. How did they end up like this? Well, upon closer inspection of their carcasses, one of the men has a hunch. Bull moose are known for their head-to-head bouts, squaring off for the right to mate with a particular female. When they clash, it can get downright nasty, their pointed antlers cracking against each other until one either gives up or dies fighting. For these two titans, the match likely ended with one of them piercing the other's skull. Though he may have won the battle, the war itself was lost, as their antlers were so entangled, leaving the victor unable to dislodge and break free. The dead weight of his opponent, likely weighing in at 1,000+ pounds, may have dragged him down into the sea, a watery, icy grave for two. When the men discovered their remains, they later returned with the tools to cut them out, their heads to be sawed off, stuffed, and mounted on a wall. A pretty steep price to pay for getting some play.
Huge trillion-ton Antarctic iceberg now adrift at sea. A mega iceberg that had broken off from Antarctica is now drifting out to sea. Oh, great. A massive iceberg around the size of Delaware that had broken off from Antarctica is now floating out into the Weddell Sea. Recent satellite photos show the A68 iceberg appearing to move away from the Larsen C ice shelf. It's over 2,200 square miles, weighs about 1 trillion tons, and has a volume twice that of Lake Erie. Experts say the iceberg will break up into smaller pieces and float northeast as it makes its way out into the open waters of the Southern Ocean. Scientists are concerned the smaller pieces could then drift into shipping lanes. Pieces too small to track by satellite could pose major risks to passing ships. Some researchers have said the calving of the iceberg was a normal event and not caused by global warming.
Worms frozen in permafrost come back to life after 42,000 years. That's a long time to be frozen. A study conducted by Russian scientists in collaboration with Princeton University found 300 prehistoric worms in Yakutia, one of the coldest regions in Russia. The Siberian Times reports 2 of the worms were shown to contain viable nematodes, also known as roundworms. One worm is estimated to be around 32,000 years old, while the other is around 42,000 years old. One of the worms was found in an ancient squirrel burrow's permafrost, while the other was found by a river. After being defrosted in a laboratory in Moscow, the worms started to move, eat, and show other signs of life. According to the Siberian Times, both the worms are female and are part of the oldest living animals on the planet. What in the world? Something shocking literally dropped in on the quiet evening a couple in San Bernardino, California were having one Sunday night. Homeowner Claudel Curry and Odell Marie Curry were watching TV at home when all of a sudden they heard a horrendous sound that violently shook the house. Confused, Claudel walked into their bedroom, where he saw the bed and floor covered in insulation from the attic and a gaping hole in the ceiling and roof. Claudel then found a chunk of ice the size of a basketball. He believes the ice fell from a passing airplane, and according to the FAA, although such occurrences are rare, they can happen when a plane has a leak in the galley system. This is the second time something like this has happened to a California home in 5 weeks. Previously, a family in Chino experienced the same shocking surprise when a chunk of ice fell through their roof. Thankfully, no one was hurt from either case. Claudel says he hopes something can be done, as one day someone's gonna get hurt or worse. That can't be good. According to a study published in Science Advances, there is warm water trapped under the surface of the Arctic seas, which would significantly melt sea ice in the Arctic. The researchers used old data from ships and new data from probes installed in the Arctic waters to calculate the heat content. Warm water beneath the Arctic Sea is accumulating rapidly around 50 meters below the Arctic Ocean. As the sea ice melts, the water exposed to the sun heats up. The Arctic winds then send the warmer waters to the north, which is where they remain trapped beneath the ice pack. However, researchers warned that the trapped warm water has the potential to come to the surface and impact the ice. The Arctic is already warming at twice the rate of the global average, and something like this would only exacerbate the dire situation in the polar region.